Perform the exponentiation by hand. Then use a calculator to check your work. So we're given -4 raised to the second power. Whenever we're doing exponent problems, we want to be very clear what is it that's being raised to the power. In other words, what is the base? Now in this problem, the base of our exponent is this entire number -4 because these parentheses are holding the negative onto the 4. So this means -4 in parentheses times -4 because the base of the exponent is -4. Well, we know that a negative times a negative is a positive, and 4 times 4 is 16. Now the second problem is different, and we can see that it's different because there aren't any parentheses. We might think, well, how does that change this problem? How it changes it is that the negative is no longer part of the base. What this is really is this is like saying -1 times 4 to the second power. That negative sign, we can think of that as being the -1 times. It does not impact the base. Okay? The only thing that's part of the base is just the 4, not the negative. So what that means is that this is like thinking of it being -1 times 4 times 4. Well, a negative times a positive is a negative. Negative times another positive is still a negative. We have an odd number of negatives. So my final answer is going to be negative. 1 times 4 is 16. So this is going to be -16. Have to be very, very careful of that. Because the negative is not protected by the parentheses like it was in the first one, that negative sign is basically just coming along for the ride to my final answer. Now this last problem brings together some of the elements of both of the first two problems. So we want to be sure we're following order of operations here. So parentheses and exponents, multiplying or dividing from left to right, adding or subtracting from left to right. So that's my order of operations. So inside the parentheses, I can't do -4. So we're going to go and pay attention to the exponent 2. What's being raised to that 2 exponent? It's -4. Now this negative sign here, we're not going to say, oh, the opposite of -4 is +4. That negative there is way down at the bottom of my order of operations down here with adding and subtracting. I'm not ready to deal with that yet. That negative is just going to come along for the ride. Okay, so there's that negative there. Now -4, when the negative is in parentheses, we saw up here that that was going to equal +16 because that's like saying -4 times -4. -4 times -4 is 16, but remember, we've got that red negative sign coming along for the ride. And so when I pull all this together, I can see that my final answer would be -16. Be very, very careful when you have negative signs and exponents. Be sure to ask yourself, is the negative sign being raised to the power, or is only the number being raised? Be on the lookout for those parentheses to help you to decide the answer to that question.